Hopefully not.
Welcome back and welcome once again to our second segment. As we mentioned prior to the commercial break, we're going to be joined by representatives of the Young Women's Christian Association, the YWCA. We're joined by President of the YWCA, Sherry Craig. Good morning, Ms. Craig. And we're also joined by the chair of the 60th Anniversary Committee, Anne-Marie.
The one and only Anne-Marie.
Good morning.
Pioneering Anne.
Good morning, Isani. Good morning, Dickie.
Morning.
Thanks for having us.
Sherry, you are, your other name is a well-known name before you added Craig to that name there, no? The family used to be over the Harbour Bridge at one time?
The Monroe family,
yes. Patricia's
my
family?
Mother, yes, my mother is Monroe.
Okay.
And my father is Smiling.
Your mom's sister was married to Mr. Odets, no?
That is correct.
Okay, I'm trying to
Yes.
get the same.
Schumann.
You favor your people.
Can't last.
Well, Anne-Marie, you know you're the Anne-Marie. All right, go ahead.
No, I was just about to ask, to find out from you guys what's happening with the 60th anniversary of the Y. What's taking place?
The 60th anniversary, actually the Diamond Jubilee celebration, it's a year-long celebration. It started out in March. We had a church service as part of Y Week. We started out the church service at St. John's Cathedral. It's always important to make sure that we evoke God's blessings and grace in everything that we do, and it's part of our foundation at YWCA. So we had a church service, we also had a motorcade, we had our usual, what's the name of the Saturday that we had in
The open house.
Yes, the open house where we have like this big food fest, a celebration. People come, buy the food of their choice, see the work of the YWCA. We had a breakfast at which the Governor General graced us with his presence. There was a Mexican and mariachi night, several fundraising activities to keep the programs of the YWCA afloat. As you
Where is
know,
where is the Y building or headquarters?
Corner St. Thomas and Freetown Road right here in Belize
Where it
City.
has always been for
Where
a
it
long
has
time?
always been. That
Is there,
headquarters.
are there other YWCAs in the district?
We have a headquarters, a branch actually in Belmopan. Yes, 3 years ago we opened that building through funding from the European Union, where we had gotten a project where 200 women were identified who were entrepreneurs, and 50% of them had to be under 30. Sorry, so they were young women, and we started a project to help them to build their entrepreneurial skills,
Which they've done?
and we've been following them through to make sure that they continue with building their businesses. And in that project, we had the opportunity to also build a structure. So we built that in Belmopan, and it has been serving the people of the Sand Creek, Cayo districts very well.
There is a kind of membership situation with Y.
It's a volunteer organization.
Yes. But like the young people whom I see, I think you all have classes, you do all kind of little things to keep young people busy, and so they have to be like a member. You have a membership. You can say that there are several hundred young people who are steady.
Yes. We do
Well,
programs,
in terms of the board,
right.
yes.
We do have a volunteer board, and we have a staff of about 30 individuals. And we
30 volunteers?
No, they're a staff.
Oh, actual
because
staff?
they work full time.
Okay, that's big. That's a big
Yes.
staff.
Because we have teachers.
Sorry?
Teachers.
Yes.
We have a preschool that right now has over 233 children. We have a daycare with over 50 children.
There's a help program.
The
it's
help.
a second chance program for girls.
Exactly.
Who may not have been able to attend high school. Some of them come, sit their PSC, or the others come to generate new skills. They learn to be cosmetologists, they learn sewing, cake decorating, they learn skills that can take them into life. And so it's a second chance program known as Help helping early leavers program, and this program is actually all over in the Caribbean. It's one of the flagship programs of YWCA's.
I was kind of the information that is a volunteer board. Is important because nobody will volunteer the entire.
And
30%, nobody will volunteer.
And 30% of the board has to be young women.
Under 30.
What do you define as young?
Under
Other than under 30.
Well, it's like the CARICOM youth age, like 15 to 29. So we do under 30 because it's a way for the organization to regenerate itself from within. Because
before you start getting with a lot of journalist questions.
No, not at this moment, not yet.
I saw one Sunday, I will call no name, but I saw one Sunday Girl Guides marching for one of the churches, and it's a heartbreaker. They look like about 11 or 15 people.
And I was a girl guide and a guider. I was a girl guide for Wesley. St. John's and Wesley had the strongest companies. It was first Belize, St. John's, and second Belize, first Wesley. I grew up in that movement from 8 years old, and I took over the company at 21. And
at 21? When you were 21?
Yes.
So I remember when you made a quote.
And I have been, and I was a guider for like about 6 years.
That's
but
fantastic.
Sadly, the movement in Belize it's been disappearing steadily.
That's what I wanted to reach. Why people are so stressed out, so busy, they're so frightened for the crime, and I want to come out. What is
leadership has to do, on a whole, our country has a deficit of leadership. And it shows a lot in these areas where people are not paid, where you really have to dedicate and commit and recommit. These are the areas that people just slack off very early in, because then they know they pay me. People come to work and they're not dedicated and they're paid.
Well, a big respect to all of you who are volunteering your time, because a deficit of leadership is putting it mildly.
But it's true.
It's a crisis when nobody in the community want to take a little time out so that they could maybe teach at a Sunday school or help the guides or the Boy Scouts, especially Boy Scouts. That exists at all? Is there a Boy Scouts going on?
Still a Scout association.
It must be very
we have
small.
Scouts at Wesley, but yes,
small.
It's all dwindling because
Wesley had the only boys brigade, which everybody wanted to go to Wesley because they had both the marching band and the brigade. In fact, Commissioner Jeffries came out of the boys brigade.
And those are features that are very much reminiscent.
But why can't they brought back?
It can be, but the right leadership. We have to have people who are committed to do these things and to do it well.
Now, in terms of the YWCA, I think for most of us in Belize City, if I may, YWCA has become, or has been for quite some time, synonymous with the preschool and with the continuation, the health program.
Well,
go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
Yes, and we do other programs.
And
it has its history there, though, because it started out.
The Y started actually in 1956 in Belize. And it was started because our Chief Justice's wife at the time, Mrs. Winnie Ward, thought that Belize needed leadership skills and fellowship for women. And so she started in the bottom of her house to have meetings on the marine around Memorial Park area. The house is still there actually. It's nicely finished now, upgraded. But she started with meetings at the bottom of that house for many years, and for 4 years. And in 1960, we got that land where we are on Freetown and St. Thomas Streets. Actually, the YWC had the entire block. It was swamp, of course, and we were not able to really develop it, and so parts of it was given back to the government at the time. And the Y.
Well, it's now Stella Maris and it's now Narcy. That whole area was for us.
It was all for the Y.
Including the Cleopatra White.
Everything, yes, the entire block.
Area.
So we only kept half of the block actually at the St. Thomas Street side. And the women who started the Y actually built 9,000 blocks, cement blocks, to start that building.
So there was they made their own cement block?
Yes, they did.
I didn't know that story. That's fantastic.
What is important to note is that when we started there at the Y, 3 to 5 young women came to acquire skills, very much led on the partly on the tutelage of, remember the Young Christian Association, remember Sadie Vernon? And so 3 to 5 girls were at the Y. And then they moved from the YWCA, that foundation, and it became the continuation school, remember, on Dean Street, almost where my office is now. Dean Street, the continuation school. And then it became full-fledged to Sadie Vernon, given the rightful name, but Y was the early foundation of
A
that.
school is named after Miss Sadie, no?
I got to say the
The
Sadie
building
Vernon
where
High
she
School.
worked opposite the Reporter Press and,
Right where I used to be,
that street there, it's kind of falling apart. No, that thing need to be. Isani and I were just talking, I have to push the scene quickly. We were just talking that the wooden building on Barracks Road, no? On Barracks Road, which
Liberty Hall.
is built by the great
yes.
Marcus Garvey, who is a world hero, national hero in Jamaica, visited Belize more than once. That building is falling apart.
Right.
Where Curtis Junior High used to be.
That is correct.
A little bit of history.
No, and Philip Golson used the upstairs of that building to all his
Liberty
young
Hall.
patriots.
Right, the Liberty
for all
Hall
these
building.
things.
Yeah.
What is important for me to get in is that we're here because the Diamond Jubilee celebration is being wrapped up this Friday.
Okay.
And we have a huge gala event, banquet and dance at the Belize Biltmore Plaza Hotel. Starts at 7:30. The contribution is a mere $100, and that's to keep the programs of the YWCA afloat. And we want to invite the entire Belize to come and have good food, good wine, and great company as you support the YWCA, an organization that's over the years continued to change lives and change communities.
You're a good
What are the-
you're a good marketing authority.
No, it is the work of the YWCA.
It's not, no, I tell you this,
is-
but I tell you,
Tell me.
$100 is a lot of money right now.
$100 will
Maybe for
always
the middle
be
class and upper
$100
class
will always be a lot of money
Yeah.
because what you support, you give priority to.
I was just
And if
about to
something
say.
is important to you, when you look at the great work that the Y has done, the amount of women who've gotten their start from the Y and the amount of families, you cannot help but realize that this is for us. It's not like a foreign entity where we get money from. And we have to continue to support the things that are
Well, there is
important to us.
there is a group in the society that can easily afford it, but the people who really want to have
Well, we targeted a
everything-
lot of businesses.
Everything is for
Okay.
And
people.
businesses did, we have
They-
to say
they
thank
support
you to
you?
them. Yes, Mrs. Jackie Locke is a member of our board, and she
Why
has
that
been
name rings a
responsible.
bell, Jackie Locke?
Jeffrey's wife.
Okay.
She's a volunteer member of our board, and she's
Yeah?
been on the sub team, and she has really worked hard to push tickets. We're just two of the members of the team. There's a team that volunteers that works hard to ensure that the programs are completed, and this particular gala is marketed enough so that we can get those funds to help in the programs that the
It's
Y.
100 a couple or it's 100 for each person?
$100
Per
per
person.
person.
Per person.
But
It's a small group
Yeah.
we're targeting.
like I said, it's much needed funding for the programs that we need to continue to
think by
support
now with
and keep
my-
the doors of the YWCA open. Go ahead, Isani.
As
Isani
you
wanted to-
rightfully mentioned, though, it's a matter of where we place our priorities. Because when you look at young people, for instance, and all these other events that are taking place, doesn't come free, doesn't come cheap, and there are other expenses that go along with going out.
Yep.
In this particular instance, it's for a more worthy cause. Now, my question, having said all of that, is what are the features of this gala event that would attract younger people to want to attend and want to spend their money in support of this particular
You have to
initiative?
bring out super
Well,
hero lad
there
way
is
back.
Kenny G. There is Kenny G. And
Kenny G,
Kenny
yeah.
G. Jives with the young people better than Lord Rayburn. And so there is Kenny G. There is Thanksgiving food because it's turkey with
Thanksgiving
all the
weekend.
trimmings. And there's great company. There's an opportunity for you to learn about the work video presentation to show what the Y has done and what it continues to do. And a lot of young people have gotten their start from the Y. If it's through swimming, we conduct a swimming program every year.
The only
whereby
swimming pool in
schools-
Belize.
only swimming pools.
The public swimming
And
pool in Belize.
This should tug at your heart because you like swimming.
That's why I don't want
you
to
had a
hear about
famous you had a famous swimming pool
The
around.
politicians, they sabotage it.
And so I'm saying to you that it rings a bell. So a lot of the young people have gotten their start at Y, whether it's through sports, basketball, swimming, the girls through the Helping Early Leavers program. And we go from the cradle to the
Right.
seniors
Yes,
because
our seniors program is
we-
well known.
we have the
Remember,
Y
by Miss-
pageant.
Yes, the Miss Y pageant annually.
That
there's
one
a
is
senior
well
group.
known.
Exactly.
Yes, there's so
But what teenage program? Tell us quickly.
Teenagers, we call
teenagers. The teenagers is a helping early
Yeah.
leavers
The
program
helping.
for the girls
That is a
and the
big
young boys
flagship.
who are into sports, yes, and they're swimming for all ages.
Oh, no, make a big money off of the teenagers.
But
Pageant,
it all goes
but it
back
all goes
into the program
work,
because
yeah.
the program is at a we have to keep the costs of the program
I
very,
have to
very
use the
low.
National Stadium directly for that because they could
It
never
is.
have
The-
that
tickets
is
for
true.
that.
That
The new
is true.
city center.
The new city center upon its
Oh, the one that is
Because-
communing, the one that's
because-
communing with the sky.
Because
But I
I
would
had
like
a lot
to-
of its pageants there.
Yes,
The,
at the city
before
center.
the civic.
Yes, but one of the programs that we must talk about quickly is our CASA program. It is creating a safe space agenda where we get children, 200 children from standards 4, 5, and 6, and first and second forms from Southside schools. Bring them over to the Y every day. This is funded with the CARSI project from the U.S. Embassy. We do homework and remedial work with them. We have
Mentorship.
retired teachers who come in and help us with that. And that has been happening now for 2 years. And we're lucky to have a third year
Of funding?
of funding to continue that program. So we have seen through testimonials children whose grades in school and their desire to be in school improve tremendously.
That's great. That's great.
Yes.
Tell us
and the
for
same
1
for
minute
young
because
women
they are
too.
signaling to us that we have 3 more minutes to go. We always hear about the YWCA, but what about the YM?
This is the brother organization.
Yes.
Really.
Young men's Christian, that seems to have gone by the wayside.
They're still
So they're
doing
still
work
operating.
Yes.
as far as
Mhm.
we're aware, yes. They do a lot of after-school programs also and sporting programs.
Okay, Sani must have them in one
Yes.
morning because that's most important for
Yes.
because they're headquartered down in the south side where all the problems are
Right, they're
more
on Fabers
pronounced.
Road,
No?
right.
I think what on Fabers Road, I
Yes.
see
Fabers
a
Road, yeah.
cement building there with a yard.
Right.
It's well needed.
And
Well,
we
you've made my
we
day
straddle
today.
we straddle the north and south side.
Go again?
We straddle the north
Because
and
you're
south.
right near-
Freetown Road
yeah,
and
you're
St.
right
Thomas
near
Street.
the
we
river.
straddle the north
Yeah.
and south. Hello.
And we make sure that we
What's that by
serve
the
food.
yard? You
Yes.
good answer. You good answer.
Well, I've had good teachers.
Put it into
straddle.
geographical context.
Exactly.
Sani, they agree with you too.
But it's true.
Full time,
Proximity, it's proximity.
Yes.
You get away with that.
full
That's
time
fair.
north side place to the straddle is so
Straddle.
But we do
North
in
and
lots
south,
of
yes,
instances
yes.
because we do look at the Southside schools in order to try and assist those schools.
Southside is too big a problem for the young women Christian Association.
But we try because we do make an impact on the community as much as we can.
A lot of the young women in the Helping Early Leavers
big
program
challenge.
come from
Come
the
from
south
the
side.
south side, yeah.
Come from the
Yeah.
south side.
Yeah, but overall it's a drop in the bucket. Southside and one challenge.
But
That
you know
thing,
the
that
truth?
thing where you mentioned. Let me go over it. The Boys Brigade. I come from Anglican crowd and Wesley Church, they right up the lane from where I come from. I want my people and send me a Methodist. I want the inner Boys Brigade. I want. When St. John's again, a marching band and I start to learn for play drum, it eased that pressure. But my point is, children are attracted to these things.
Yes.
It's important because on the south side, nobody they learn music, nobody they learn drama, no dancing, nothing is going on. Ain't nothing going on but the rent.
Everybody stay
Yeah.
home and they're on a
Big
tablet.
challenge that is going on. So I am shocked to hear that at the YW, the whole board of directors are volunteer, busy people like yourselves take
Yes.
time out to try and help. I mean, everybody have to help because the problem is now, I don't know
It's
if you had
bigger
a
than all
chance
of
to
us.
hear Shakira Young speaking.
Oh,
just
Yes,
before
yes.
the
we
group.
did.
We're
I
listening
mean,
to her.
when will this come to an end? Both of you grew up in a society where that was absolutely taboo. Nobody, they shoot nobody.
Yeah.
That is unheard of, but why? The bigger problem is that we have allowed the American television to come into our homes uncontrolled, unregulated.
Well, we have dismissed the village that we need to raise a child,
raise a
and,
child,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
all of us are part of that village. And
but
so
Friday is the big gala at where?
at the Belize Biltmore Plaza,
time is that?
it's 7:30 in the evening.
Okay.
Tickets are still
Well,
on sale.
all the middle class
at
and the
the
upper
Y.
classes should be rushing down to buy tickets. And
So tickets are
The
still on
business
sale
community. Yes,
we
at the
still have
Wise
tickets
headquarters.
available.
Members of the board also have tickets, and we would really
Miss
like.
Y 2016 will make a special appearance.
She
She will be there.
You see?
Many of them will be there.
Once you're a queen at the Y, you're always a queen.
But
On
we
that
need
note-
to we need to remind people in our parting shot that the gala event is on and it wraps up the Diamond Jubilee celebration of the YWCA. Tickets can be had at the Y's headquarters, corner St. Thomas Street and Freetown Road, or from members of the board. Your
For a
contribution
small fee of
is
$100.
only $100 because it goes. All the funds will go back to the work of the YWCA.
Watch Miss Y
And like I
2016.
said, it's work that we continue to do that continues to change lives and change communities.
When you win Miss Y, you get one check to go along with it.
A small, well, it's all donated. And
Yeah, but you get a check.
there are lots of
because, yeah, man,
prizes,
these, these are fantastic women here, man.
yes, they are.
I wonder if they ever have one Mr. Y.
We
Well,
could think about it.
if we have the
That's a-
candidates to go up, why not?
That's another concept for
Yes.
another
It's
show.
another. It's
Thanks a lot
another.
Ladies,
for coming out and
Thanks
you.
for joining us this morning.
Thank you,
Thank
Sam.
We're
you
gonna-
for having us.
No problem at all. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, it's to discuss with representatives from the Ministry of Health. We're going to be discussing HPV, the human papilloma virus, and the vaccine. So that promises to be an interesting conversation
Does.
on the other side of the commercial break.
yeah, good.
Hi, are you there? This thing will go off again.
Are you okay, Mom?
Yes, pretty. Then why this thing only go on so? Man, this thing cut off again. I just could see I would have smashed this thing, you know. Hi, babe.
Mom,
Yes.
Smart is venturing into a new world. We're introducing the fastest and most reliable broadband unlimited internet for your home or business. This new and exciting service will allow customers to purchase unlimited data at super fast speed for a low monthly fee. Reliable, high-speed, cost-effective internet is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. Finally, a service provider that will give you speed and reliability.
Are you always on the go? Tired of missing your favorite games while they're actually being played? Watch your games and sporting events live with Central TV and Internet's incredible MyTV. Simply log on to www.mitv.bz to get easy access to 25 channels, no matter where you are. With Central TV and Internet's MyTV, you're always in the game.
Dengue and Zika alert. Do your part by preventing mosquito breeding. The Ministry of Health reminds the public that as we enter the rainy season, be aware of the dangers of dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. These are infectious diseases that are transmitted by the bite of Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquitoes. These mosquitoes are most active in early morning and late afternoon. Activities that should be done to prevent dengue and Zika include: avoid having containers that can collect water in your yard. Cover water storage containers such as drums. Change the water in flower pots every 4 or 5 days. These are ideal breeding sites for the mosquito. With the elimination of breeding sites in and around the yard, dengue and Zika can be avoided. Dengue and Zika begin with sudden onset of high fever. Other signs and symptoms include rash, joint pain, eye pain. If you are pregnant or planning to become pregnant, we advise you to visit your nearest health facility. The public is also encouraged to use mosquito repellent spray or lotion on the body or clothing. Do your part by preventing mosquito breeding. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
All right, we are back, and for this segment, our third segment for this morning's show, we are joined by Dr. Natalia Beer. She is the Maternal Child Health Coordinator at the Ministry of Health. We're also joined by Dr. Tracy Nicholas, an obstetrician gynecologist and OBGYN. And we're talking this time around about the HPV vaccine rollout.
Yes.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. Again.
OBGYN and the HPV and its rollout. What are the first things that we need to know about this vaccine and what it means for young girls in Belize?
Okay. I will start off. Since the release of the vaccine in 2006, the Caribbean sub-region have been working towards introducing the HPV vaccine. And while we know the potential of reducing the cervical cancer for women in adulthood, the main constraint has been economical. The vaccine started at more than $100 per dose, and currently is at 9.8. So countries have been uptaking the vaccine, and the main objective is to protect against HPV infection. And HPV infection now is known to cause cervical cancer. There are more than 150 types of HPV virus, and they are classified by numbers. And 16 and 18 are the most aggressive cancer-causing HPV virus. So those are contained in the vaccine. The next two that is contained in the vaccine is the 6 and 11, and those cause 90% of genital warts. So this will definitely protect the girls from acquiring HPV infection, and then 16 and 18 will definitely reduce the incidence of cervical cancer.
It's like when we're small, we get on polio, the thing and that goes throughout your
So far, the vaccine have 10, 11 years on the market, lifetime. We started out at 3 doses, but it has proven that the effectiveness is similar with 3 doses or 2 doses. So the good thing for us is we are starting with 2 doses now.
Did you say this is going on for some years? That this is something that's not new? It's
This started in 2006. It was
10 years
released.
ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
In the developed countries or?
Australia
across the globe?
2007, UK 2007, the US 2007.
There's been some degree of concern with regards to its rollout in these specific countries, as to why in Belize there seems to be some trepidation among families with regards to the age that their daughters would be taking this vaccine. Can you speak to that?
I think it's just lack of information. When we lay out the facts that are available, for example, why use a vaccine? Polio, as you mentioned earlier. In 22 years administering polio vaccine, the reduction has been 99.6% of cases of polio worldwide. We can't say there is no polio now,
but it's
because
almost,
we still have
defeated,
4 countries.
No?
But before that, we had 125 countries with polio. Today, we have 4 countries. We went from 300,000 cases of polio worldwide to just 1,000 because of those 4 countries that still have polio. So we know the benefits of the vaccines. In this case, I know one of the questions is we are administering the virus to the child. But no, it's not the virus. The virus is like the shape of that bowl there. Yeah. So the outer part, the shell, from there is where the vaccine is made from. So it's not even the virus itself. But that has proven to be effective to build up the antibodies. So when the girl come in contact with the virus, she have how to fight it off.
Now, Dr. Nicholas, as an OBGYN and working with some of these cases, what are some of your observations in respect of HPV and cervical cancer and what have you?
Actually, the vaccine is actually administered from the pediatric age. So it should be from age 9. We're starting at 10 as a pilot study. So pediatricians and OB/GYNs overlap in the care of these girls and women. The basic aim is to reduce cervical cancer in the country. Cervical cancer is actually the #1 killer of the women in Belize.
Yeah?
Yes, it is, right? More often than not, advised for breast cancer, but usually that's the #1 killer. And that's not just for Belize, that's in other underdeveloped countries. So this vaccine actually targets the most common strains of the virus that causes cervical cancer. So in doing that, and I don't know if you'll be able to show the slides, they will show you that you see a decrease in actual cervical cancer incidence in the world and in the 10 years that it's been used as well.
Now, the question that I have, I find it interesting that you mentioned that it is among the leading causes of death among women in Belize, for instance, second or in tandem with breast cancer. There seems to be a heavy push to create breast cancer awareness, but HPV kind of comes in at a distant second in terms of people knowing or learning about this particular condition and its devastating effects on women in our society.
I think the reason for that is really because HPV is linked to sex, right? It is transmitted, it's passed through sexual contact, but actually it's passed from skin to skin contact. So skin to skin contact. So you don't have to have actual sex, but contact with somebody exposed to that intimate contact can cause it to be transferred. So while breast cancer, it's genetics or you don't know what may have caused it in the person. With cervical cancer,
And it's a subject you can more easily discuss on the
there's
media as well, no?
Yes, it is, right? So that's
Because
the
of
problem per
taboo
se.
with the other one.
That's true.
So it's actually rubbing up against another person's skin-to-skin contact is a means of transferring.
It's a means of transfer, right?
See?
It's an interesting. It's
No other way is it passed from one human to the other?
Contact with the
Does it have to be?
You have two types of virus, one that affect the skin and the one that affect the mucous membranes. And the one that affect the mucous membranes is the one that causes cancer, and it's transmitted sexually, but it can be from contact to contact.
The one to the skin is the warts that we talk about, the genital warts.
Is there like a registry or a record? I know that statistically there may be a number for people living with HIV/AIDS, for instance.
Yeah.
Is there that kind of data on the number of women who are living with or are afflicted by HPV or cervical cancer at this point?
We have a National Cervical Cancer Committee. We are both members of the committee. The Belize Cancer Society also is a member, and other organizations. And we are working currently on updating a cancer registry. But for last year, we had 21 cases of new cervical cancer patients. And we had 13 women who died from cervical cancer.
In terms of what you're observing, is there a specific age for these individuals? You mentioned there were 21 new cases.
Yes.
Are these older women? Are these is this a cross section of women from let's say 20 to 50, for argument's sake?
We've seen actual women in their 20s, so it can start in your 20s that they actually develop cervical cancer. That's usually going to be a very aggressive tumor. But the bottom line is that cervical cancer actually affects the working class, the mothers. I want to say from 15 to 44 is where you'll see most. When we see them beyond that, it's not that they developed it then, it's just that we found it then. And the problem with it is that we normally find it when they're in end stage, when they have the symptoms, because it's asymptomatic in the beginning. You do not know you have
For
contracted.
how long you could be?
You can carry the virus in your body for 10 to 20 years.
Without it showing itself?
Without it doing anything. It depends on your own immune system, whether it continues, it regresses, or it progresses. Right? It's basically only about 0.8% that actually progress to cancer. And that 0.8% is what's responsible for the #1 killer of the women. Right? I'm concentrating on women, but it's not to say it's just women that are affected. Right? It causes cancers in men as well. Right?
Yeah.
It causes throat cancer. It causes penile cancer as well.
And you're seeing that in Belize as well? It's starting to show itself?
We have cases of those, but to say that they're HPV related would require you to do the
Okay,
serotyping
most
of that to see.
So what is the program itself? What is happening? All the school children are
Yes,
required to, and that is happening with no kind of kickback or any kind of problem?
Not required, not mandatory.
Okay, that's great.
Yes.
Countrywide, this is going to happen all across the
Countrywide.
whole country?
The World Health Organization recommends to vaccinate girls from 9 to 13. So we were looking, where would we find these girls? So the majority are in schools. So we look at the numbers from Ministry of Education, and Standard 4 girls have the highest number of girls. If we were to administer the vaccine at Standard 6, like Mexico does, 20% of the girls drop out by Standard 6.
Yeah.
So that's how we target Standard 4. And the process that is followed is, well, the rural health nurses and the public health nurses in each district contact the school management. They get a list of the girls in Standard 4. The parents are invited to a meeting. We provide them with the information. We have a consent form that needs to be signed. We attach an information sheet.
Why the need for the consent form?
Because of the age of the girl that is being vaccinated, and we don't want, because a lot of comments
But the consent
regarding the
Misinformation.
vaccine.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Consent form is given for all vaccines.
Yes.
Right? So when if you have kids in the school, they come and they want to give worm pills, vitamin A, the flu shot, you have to get a
You have to
consent
sign.
form. The parent has to sign a consent form for all things administered without them being present as well. All right?
At this particular point in time, is this voluntary for
It's
Standard
voluntary.
4?
Voluntary. We provide information, and then the parents decide if yes or no. And we are documenting both. Yes, they agree, or no, they do not agree.
Where the vaccine comes from?
Well, this first procurement is a donation from the Social Security Board.
Okay.
So we procure the vaccine through the Pan American Health Organization. We have a program that they call Revolving Fund, where we get good quality vaccine with good price.
What has been the reception of this rollout from parents?
Well, you have two types of parents. From parents that receive information and from parents that did not receive any information. And of course, the one them that receive information, we provide them with all the details and positive response. I think we have more demand than what we can offer for the vaccine, especially outside of that age group. But we're working with private sector to see if we can provide them with vaccine and at a lower cost.
The
Because
vaccine.
privately,
Yeah.
in the private sector, the vaccine, now we only have to give the 2 doses, but it was $500 per shot.
Per
right?
shot.
Per shot, right? So some parents are going, well, what about mine? Mine is 11-year-old, or mine is, much beyond the age that we're going to concentrate on, which is the 10-year-olds, or whatever age you are in Standard 4, because some are 9, some are 11. So they're asking for their other daughters, and we're trying to see how we can subsidize that cost in the private sector for them, since it's a pilot project that they're doing.
You know, I didn't ask this, but both of you are Belizean?
Yes, I am.
Yeah?
Yes.
I've known of Dr. Beer for quite a number of years now.
Okay.
Yes.
When
Okay.
you talk like foreigners too.
You speak English, right?
Outside of the
I was born
vaccine-
in Nicaragua.
Go again?
Born in Nicaragua.
I was born in Belize City, right?
There you go.
You see, I knew there was a foreigner lurking somewhere.
Yes, yes.
I come from that area which was skeptical of overseas medication and overseas miracles, because there have been instances where they guinea pig us in the third world, so to speak. But this vaccine is something which the scientific community are
Support.
satisfied
Yes.
that down the road we'll not hear
Side effects.
any
or
kind of thing.
anything.
You're familiar with the thalidomide situation in Germany. I think in Germany where the pharmaceutical company were making available to pregnant women, and then the children were being born, deformed all over the place. It's a horrible, ugly story that the pharmaceuticals don't want to come out. But I was just asking
But
because
that was based on this pharmaceutical company. Now you have all these safety
Committees
and everything like that. This vaccine has been in use for 10 years. And the first set of
10 years
girls,
is not a long time in the
and in Belize is 5 years.
right? So it
5
may
on
not,
top of the 10 or within the 10?
no, within the 10.
Within
So,
the 10.
so persons have been accessing and receiving this vaccine for the past 5 years, but not through the Ministry of Health. So they've been paying for that.
There are
for
a
the
large
public,
number
right?
of, on a segue slightly, there's a large number of men who were soldiers in American wars who, when they returned, I'm not talking the Vietnam War with the Agent Orange, but in the recent wars in Iraq and these places, they go back home and then they find they are suffering from after effects of chemicals and other things which they came in contact with, which were used. But
in the case of
this
Belize,
particular
of this program,
yes,
I mean, 200 million doses applied, that is 100 million girls already vaccinated. So it's not
Worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide. It's
Yeah.
not like
what's the figure?
200 million doses applied.
So you administer it twice. You administer it twice.
Our
sorry.
target is 4,400.
Why so small?
That's
We only
the-
can afford one cohort.
Okay.
that's
I
the
one
standard
cohort of
standard
girls.
for girls.
I read somewhere in Jamaica, Bill and Melinda Gates made quite a healthy donation to a program in Jamaica next door. And I think in Belize we don't kind of like make contact with persons who have access to large amount. Actually, I'm surprised. Let me be a little. Let me just say this: a program like this, if it is what you all are promoting, which we accept, should have been funded through the Petro-Carib millions of dollars. We shouldn't be able to say, oh, I can only reach 4,000 children because the money is so limited and whatnot. If this program is a satisfactory program with no side effects, ill effects, no long-term problem later on, for children to get a chance in life and not develop a cancer, I mean, that is something a society have to go all out and finance it. End of the story. Because 2 weeks ago, I read in the European press that the United Nations, they have like renewed their efforts to attack tobacco smoking. And I read the statistics and the situation with tobacco smoking. And I'm in Belize where you could just smoke cigarette apart from something and the packet, that's it.
Yeah.
And that is a killer which is killing far more people than the cervical cancer. And you hear nothing in our society unless some foreign agency come down and start to make a fuss and whatnot. In fact, there is even, well, I don't want to go that far, but I just was saying that this is an important thing, and we're saying that only a small percentage of our young girls are going to get a chance to fight off a disease which is among the #1 killers in the
But
society.
you need to start. It's a
You need to start
right?
Oh yes, I mean the first step is
others who we cannot actually receive it through this method, maybe they can afford it because they're also
On their
trying
own?
to
So
subsidize.
you've
subsidize
mentioned
the
that
cost.
this is
it's
essentially-
expensive in America.
It's expensive everywhere, but
In the
So family
UN,
members would
in-
still have to pay a big cost to try and send it down
In
here.
Australia, for example, if you get it through the Ministry of Health program in
Yes.
Australia, it's free of cost for the families. But if they want it outside of the age group that they're offering, it costs $450 a dose.
In
Now you
Australia.
mentioned that this is
Yes.
a pilot project for Belize. How are you
It's
guys?
a program. It's a
pilot
program.
I'm sorry. How are you guys going to evaluate or assess the success or the effectiveness of this initiative over time?
Yes, that's an excellent question. And we use data that is already available. We have the example of in Australia, where you can see the number of girls and women affected by HPV, and after the introduction of the vaccine, there is a drop, a significant drop in the number of genital warts. It's hard at this point to measure year by year the reduction in cancer because of what Dr. Nicholas mentioned earlier. It takes 10 to 20 years And if you are immune compromised, it goes down to 5 or 10 years. So whatever is there, it's difficult for us to change. What we're doing is investing today in the girls to help them protect against the virus when they come in contact with the virus and don't necessarily develop cervical cancer.
Now, in conclusion, what would you say to parents to allay some of the fears and concerns? Because this is an ongoing thing, that is, the rollout will be over a period of time. What do you say to them to sort of comfort the fact that this is something that is worthwhile at this particular point?
Well, what we would recommend, we share with them the evidence that is available. What are the benefits of the vaccine? What are the side effects of the vaccines? And we explain to them clearly why are we doing this today and why at this age. And they have to make a decision. But we are encouraging them to make the decision based on the information, not based on fear or lack of information. Because at the end, tomorrow, they might end up with complications or serious infection or cervical cancer, which is not necessary having a vaccine that can prevent
But you're
it.
getting any feedback that they're fair?
So far, I can tell you the acceptance rate is pretty high, pretty high.
So the Orange YWCA is about 80% have already received
Almost 80%.
of the standard for
Yes.
since they started.
All right. Ladies, it's been a pleasure having you with us this morning to discuss the HPV vaccine and its rollout in Belize. We will invite you for a follow-up at...
But not in 20 years' time.
No.
Not in 20 years. Sometime soon enough where it's still within reach.
Yeah.
Right? Thanks again for being on the show with us this morning. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, it's with members of the Belize Credit Union League and the Marian Gainey Quiz Contest. So that will bring us into the fourth segment of our show this morning when we come back from this commercial break.